growing up can be hard for a child. Growing up personally, I've seen my mother get into drugs, seen my mother fight with her significant others, and these can all attribute to what is called an A score. Me personally, I have a 5. What is an A score? Well, I'm into everything. This is the Hulk, and this is Homeboy, and we're going to tell you what an A score is, what it can do, and how we plan on fixing it. Now, an A score, A stands for adverse childhood experiences. So anything bad that's happened in your life, like for me, I said my mother getting into drugs and fighting and all that stuff. A score is getting from a 10-question quiz with questions similar to this one, where it's has a biological parent ever been kicked out of the house due to an outside factor, or if a parent has ever gone to prison, stuff like that. And if you get a score of a 4 or more, you are considered an at-risk person.
All right, so with those ACE scores, the ACE scores have a direct correlation with depression. The 4 and up, it leads to a 240% increase in depression for the children in their lives, and then just over 1,200% in suicide rate. Depression has become the #1 issue relating to disability, beating out the heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. And then when it comes to depression, people are trying to cope. So when they're trying to cope, they lead into other things, which in this area, in Vanderburgh County, happens to be opioids. Indiana is the 16th highest rated state when it comes to opioid deaths. In Vanderburgh County, in the past 2014, 2015, 2016, there's been over 120 deaths. And hydrocodone is an opioid and is the most prescribed pill in Indiana. So, with our solution is to catch it early. It is to focus on the youth. So the pre to 3 program that's already being implemented, we're adding on to it with 4 and more. The main focus of pre and 3 is to educate the mothers, educate them with nurses and caregivers going into the home and teaching the mothers about the prenatal care. So with that, we're going to use the 4 and more, which is going to still be education focused, but it's going to be on the youth to help them further their lives. We're going to offer this testing when the caregivers and the nurses are going into the homes. The 10-question quiz, they're going to kind of keep an eye out, see if there's a chance that these children could be over the 4, and then offer it to the mothers. The mothers have already reached out for help when it comes to the pre to 3 program, so the chances are they're still going to want help for their child past that pre to 3. And the main focus of our program is going to be to focus on a resilience score, which is a 14-question quiz. Has questions like, have youth leaders, ministers, teachers, and coaches were there to help me when I was a child? When I felt bad, I had someone to talk to. The key one with that was that I trusted, and I believe life is what you make it. So those are the kind of questions that are on a resilience score test, and our program with the 4 to more is going to focus on how to better those scores to combat the ACE scores.
So yeah, as the Hulk said, resilience scores negate the ACE score and help those students bounce back. So our value proposition is to create an extremely local organization that gets in with those kids, the at-risk kids with those high ACE scores, and provide them with consistent positive care, influencing those in a positive way, and being there for those students to just let them share and be there to mentor them and to share with them in any way possible. Increase that internal locus of control to see that those students have control over their life. They can input things into their life to actually make themselves more resilient with that. And so many programs are out there for like children's programs, like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts and stuff, but nothing is like this to increase the students' resilience score and get them to where they can impact their life later on. So, we're proposing a mentor program, volunteer-based, so this could be volunteers from school here, it could be nurses, teachers, anybody who wanted to volunteer, especially in the local areas, so like churches and stuff, really get those people from that local area to input into those students' lives. Proposition maybe like 2 evenings a week for 2 hours. Split it between kind of an education thing and some bonding time. So a little bit of just have someone come in and teach the kids, a life lesson or life rules and stuff, kind of just life, things that they can implement into their life. And from there, then you go into the bonding time where they get in with those people that are volunteering, and they get in there and they work with them, and they get into places where they can answer, when I felt bad, I had someone to talk to. They can be that person for them, and just to be able to share with those people, have those people positively impact those at-risk kids' lives. So we had a few locations we looked into, possibly kind of by the National Guard Armory or Schwander Ice Rink. That's in the 47711 location, right across the Lloyd from the 47714 zip code. Those two areas are high-risk areas for the opioid abuse in Vanderbilt County. And so with that, we also had a proposition of the C.K. Newsom Community Center with 47713 as an idea for that area. So those are some locations that we proposed. We looked into getting some grants for this option. With last year, the 21st Century Cures went through on a federal level, and $1 billion came open to things. And Indiana was actually approved for this program, and some of the immediate factors were opioid problem solving with that money. Another option is to get business sponsors. Business sponsors are something that those businesses want to see direct contact in the community around them to increase their a positive local standard and viewpoint of their business. So, for example, Teen Outback is a program in Huntingburg, Indiana. It is actually designed for, it provides alcohol and drug-free location for teens to just get them into positive influences in their life. So it's going to be a lot like the 4 and More program that we have. They have companies like Master Brand Cabinets, WBDC, the radio station, and Old National Bank putting into that program to have them both see positive results from both sides of that coin there for them. So our competitive advantage is, for one, we're bouncing right off the pre-3. So we get to input into those kids' lives right out of pre-3 and right into 4 and More. With that, we're going to challenge those ACE scores and by offsetting with the resiliency scores. So that's one positive element with that. Just creating that place for students to just be there and to be sharing their problems, be having positive influence in their life. So that's the one thing we have.
And to wrap it all up, some of these kids, they have these high A scores like me. I had a 5. I'm considered at risk. But I had these people in my life. I had my grandpa that I could always go and talk to that built up my resilience score. But some of these kids, they don't have that person in their life. So we're trying to give these kids these people to talk to boost their resilience score and to counteract the A score so they don't get into drugs, they don't get depressed and things like that.
Thanks, guys.